My reaction to the Bills' playoff loss to the Chiefs is coming your way today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of the Herd Mentality Substack, co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, co-host of the NFL First Read Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate you all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Well, folks, welcome in. The Buffalo Bills fell to the Kansas City Chiefs 32-29 in the AFC Championship game, and the season is over. I don't have magic words for you, folks. I'll just tell you how I feel. And I feel deeply sorry for Bills Mafia. We deserved a lot better fate than that outcome. And you certainly wonder if it's ever going to be our turn. And you recognize how ripe the opportunity was based on what this team showed you this year. And I certainly feel very disappointed that the results weren't different. 4 times in 5 years, the Chiefs end the Bills season in the playoffs. It's unfortunate. And the Buffalo Bills are a great football team. They've been a great football team, and they don't have a lot to show for it. A lot of regular season success, a lot of postseason success, but you can't have the breakthrough against Kansas City. And it is very unfortunate that the rise of the Buffalo Bills coincides with this Kansas City Chiefs dynasty that's knocking on the door of a three-peat. I feel gutted for Bills Mafia. I think about my grandmother, who's 84 years old, who even through the worst seasons, when you know they didn't have a chance, would tell me, I feel it in my bones, this is the year. So many people just like that. So many people just like that deeply love this football team. And you're just still wondering, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs going to go get, what, their third in a row? Their fourth in 6 years? It's hard to feel happy for them, right? Football is such a big part of Western New York, how deeply rooted it is into the fabric of the community. And you just felt like the city, the fans, the players, the coaches, the past players and coaches, people have put a lot into this football team, deserved a lot better fate. And I'm gutted for everybody. I know you're probably not even remotely interested in a rallying cry right now, but I'm not sure what other choice there is but to take the offseason, assess the operation, and then try to build the best possible team that you can to go out there and try again. There's a lot of commentary around this game before it was played that I found to be pretty goofy, that was rooted in, if not now, when? Well, is Josh Allen retiring this offseason? Because I don't think that's going to happen. And I do think that it's worth acknowledging that this was year one of a significant roster and coaching staff transition. Now, they obviously told us throughout the course of the season that they were absolutely a contender and one of the best teams in football and had the capacity to do the whole thing with the transition and both roster and coaching. It wasn't a capacity issue. So I don't really buy this whole thing that's, if not now, then never. That's silly, right? You have more and more opportunities, and you felt like the team was pretty healthy. You felt like the Chiefs team was certainly beatable, and it's disappointing to not do it, but let's not act like there's not another football season coming up where the Bills have the opportunity to go do it. Now, look, obviously these opportunities are rare. You can't take anything for granted. Like, I'm not dismissing any of that, but let's not act like this is it, right? Bills had a great season. Only 2 teams in the entire NFL can say that they had a better year. And the unfortunate reminder that you get when you have a playoff exit is that only one team ends their season happy. And unfortunately, once again, it's not the Bills. And whenever these moments come through, and look, we've had a lot of them. I've been hosting this podcast since January 2019. This will be the 6th playoff exit that I have to recap with you and react to. I always just try to remind myself to just be honest and tell people how you feel. And I mostly feel disappointed. Disappointed by the result. Disappointed in the spot on the 4th and 1 that seemed pretty clear that it was a conversion that absolutely changed the momentum of the game. The Bills are driving to extend their lead, and instead it winds up being the Chiefs' ball, and they score a go-ahead touchdown. I'm disappointed that Dalton Kincaid couldn't make that catch to give the Bills a chance there on 4th and 5. I'm disappointed in how the game started, both offensively and defensively. And like I said, I'm disappointed for the fans. I'm disappointed for the fans. And it's not like there's another side of the coin where you find some level of joy. Like, imagine if the Bills and the Lions played in the Super Bowl and the Lions won the Super Bowl. It would be terrible to lose the Super Bowl. You could at least find a sliver of happiness for the people of Detroit that they've won this game. But if you're not a Chiefs fan, is anybody happy that they're about to win their 4th Super Bowl in 6 years? And you feel like the Bills have been the team that have had the best opportunities to prevent that from happening. 2020 AFC Championship game. You're up 9-0. You wind up getting killed. Then you lose in overtime. Then you lose by 3. Then you lose by 3. So if we're as disappointed as I am, there's still an ounce of me that is at least encouraged as well, because obviously the Bills are close. It's not David versus Goliath. Somehow, some way, eventually, it just has to go the Bills' way, and it just hasn't. So yeah, disappointed's the word, folks. And I'm sure that's exactly how so many of you feel as well. All right, we'll react to more of this game. I want to get into some of the narratives and talk about the weaknesses that got the Bills eliminated. And, of course, we'll set the tone for what is to come here on Locked On Bills. Folks, be sure to stick with me. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. So post your job, folks. LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip for you. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to get qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back, folks. I want to get into some of the narratives from this game and talk about the weaknesses that ultimately got the Bills eliminated. This game, both teams scored 4 touchdowns and a field goal. Both teams scored 4 touchdowns and a field goal. The Bills missed 2 two-point conversions. Kansas City got theirs and also made an extra point. They won by 3. Short yardage in this game killed the Bills. And the tush pushes were obviously dicey for most of the game, which is unfortunate because it really hasn't been that way. The Bills entering this game on tush pushes were 20 for 21. It's been a money play for Buffalo. And it's crazy to see people on social media talking about how silly the Bills were for their 4th down tush pushes when it's literally been a near flawless play for them all season long. But in this game, Josh Allen converts 2 out of 5 quarterback sneaks. It's the most sneaks stopped, 3, by any team since at least 2017. Allen was 20 for 21 this year. The Chiefs, dating back to 2022, had allowed 32 consecutive successful quarterback sneaks against them. What on earth, right? Like, what on earth? Now, maybe there's a conversation worth having about how it feels like this Bills team on short yardage, not just 4th and 1, but 3rd and 1s, even sometimes 2nd and 1, where they really just obsess over getting that 1 yard. What if you ran a regular play? What if it wasn't a tush push? What if you had some more variety? This was a game where obviously there was a different idea necessary on these 4th and 1s. Crazy that in that moment, all of a sudden, your money play didn't work. The saying goes, strengths get you to the playoffs, weaknesses get you eliminated. Brandon Beane says that in a playoff elimination game, you truly find out what your weaknesses are. So what were the Bills' weaknesses in this game that were also characteristic of the season that has the Bills not going to the Super Bowl? We'll start with defense, and in particular, 3rd down defense. The Bills in 2024 were 29th out of 32 in 3rd down defense, allowing conversions 44.1% of the time. The Bills gave up 356 first downs, the 4th most of any team in the NFL. And you're talking about a bottom 4 3rd down defense, giving up the 4th most first downs of any team in the league. Well, what happens in this game? Kansas City goes 5 of 9 on 3rd downs, 56%, which is 12% higher than your normal rate. Can't get stops. Not enough of them. Why? Defensive play calling, I think, factors into that. Pass rush factors into that. Coverage factors into that. The Bills this year, 23rd in EPA defending the pass. We're talking about a bottom 10 pass defense. It's been a problem all year. It was a problem in this game. Patrick Mahomes had a success rate of 64.7% on dropbacks, which, oh, by the way, is the highest of his career, and a 99th percentile game in terms of dropback success rate. Bills coverage, pass defense, simply not good enough. So I think that's the leading weakness, in my opinion. Now, I admire what happened in the second half, where they were able to force 2 punts. And, I mean, they give up the 3 at the end there, but, I mean, that was good to hold them to a field goal. Their only touchdown in the second half came after the 4th and 1 that I believe Josh Allen converted. So you love how they got better in the second half, but collectively simply not good enough. Bottom 4 team in third down defense, bottom 10 defending the pass. Defensive injuries have been a problem all season long. They were a problem in this game. No Taylor Rapp, Christian Benford, concussion very early in the game. Kyer Elam has to play, and certainly the Chiefs went after him. Greg Rousseau and Daquan Jones, the only defensive starters to not miss a game this year due to injury. That's it. Daquan Jones, Greg Rousseau. Defensive injuries cost you all season long. They cost you in this game. How about Dalton Kincaid? Golden opportunity to catch that ball in 4th and 5. Wasn't a hard catch. Just catch the ball, dude. Couldn't get on the 4th and 1. A couple plays earlier, Dalton Kincaid couldn't get an extra yard there to move the sticks. Another drop earlier in the game where he couldn't play through Nick Bolton to make a catch, but Xavier Worthy can play through Cole Bishop. Dalton Kincaid was a big part of the plan this year. And while I do put some of this on Josh Allen, where I just don't feel like him and Dalton Kincaid ever really established great chemistry this season when he was supposed to be, you thought like the guy to really eat up a lot of volume in this offense and be the guy. Never really happened. I think Dalton Kincaid's a very talented football player, but this was not the sophomore season that this team needed out of him. And it cost them in a huge moment against a defense that's given up yards all season long to tight ends. Needed to make that play. Needed to get that first down. Needed to catch that ball earlier in the game against Nick Bolton. I'll also say the lack of a vertical element to this passing offense. The Bills completed 2 passes that went for more than 15 air yards in this game. There's just not enough of a vertical element to this passing game. And when you have the rushing offense that the Bills have, when you have the quarterback that the Bills have, should be a lot more opportunities down the field. And I love the efficiency of this offense. It's phenomenal. But there's a vertical element that has been missing all season long, and quite honestly was missing last year too. The Bills have got to find some verticality to this offense. Special teams. And not that special teams was a major problem in this one, but that punt return was a killer. The Bills go 3 and out. Punt the ball to Kansas City with Kansas City leading 14-10. And the Bills give up a 41-yard punt return. Patrick Mahomes takes over at the plus 34. 6 plays later, they're up 21-10. That punt return, I mean, who knows if you make them actually go some distance of the field instead of 34 yards to score a touchdown, maybe that drives different. And the last thing that I'll say here as I think about the leading weaknesses that cost the Bills this game that were also emblematic of really the season, I would point out slow starts. I mean, I felt like the first half of the season, that's all we did was talk about slow starts and defending opening scripts and starting faster on offense. Well, it didn't happen in this game. The Bills get the ball first. They go 3 and out. Josh Allen was certainly feeling something early on. He nearly throws 2 picks on the first drive. Then you give the ball to Kansas City. They go 9 plays, 90 yards for a touchdown. I mean, this game was 21-10, like I said, after that big punt return, and then eventually they score from 34 yards out after 6 plays. It's 21-10 ball game. I mean, the fumble that Patrick Mahomes had that was a completely unforced error was huge. I mean, the Bills were staring at a big deficit there. They're able to get a big sudden change and turn that into points the other way. And obviously, Mac Hollins with the big play before the half made this a 21-16 ball game at halftime. But I felt very fortunate that the Bills were only down 21-16 after watching that first half. So, again, strengths get you to the playoffs. Weaknesses get you beat. Brandon Beane always says that elimination games are where you find out what your weaknesses are. To me, the leading weaknesses, defense, in particular third downs, which brings up a conversation about play calling, coverage, and pass rush. Defensive injuries. Dalton Kincaid wasn't the player he needed to be as a sophomore. Lack of vertical elements to this passing offense, special teams, and slow starts. You're talking about a historically good team in the Kansas City Chiefs. Historically great. They're going to be up there with whatever the Patriots run. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is 29. I mean, I have no idea when it's going to end or what's going to happen or if right? But you can't go out there and expect to take this team down at their home stadium in a championship game and have those problems. And unfortunately, they were problems, and the Bills weren't able to slay the dragon this time. All right, coming up on the other side of it, I want to recap my predictions and talk a bit about what's next. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what's happening on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you could place $5 and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's the icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. All right, welcome back. I want to, of course, recap my predictions and talk to you a bit about what's next here. My predictions, I always try to be accountable for my predictions, and I feel like I had the right idea. I'm not going to have an impressive win-loss record here, but I was certainly close on pretty much all of these. My first prediction was that the Bills would gain 150 rushing yards. They got 147, so they were right there, and obviously you saw the rush game take over there in the second half, and I wish it was a bigger part of what happened earlier. So the Bills come up just shy of the 150 I projected. They get 147. I predicted that the Chiefs would turn the ball over for the first time since Week 11. That happened. I predicted that the Bills would gain 50 receiving yards from running backs. They got 49. 49. So just missed that one. I predicted that Dawson Knox would score a touchdown. Came pretty close. About a yard short, but he didn't get in, so I missed that one. And I predicted that the Bills would win, and they lost by 3. So I had the right feel, but just short. Just short. What's next for this podcast is really, folks, I mean, this is a daily podcast all year long. Nothing's going to change. You're going to get Buffalo Bills conversation from me every day. Now, in February, in May, in July, it doesn't matter. I am here for you. And This will be my 7th offseason covering this team, and I feel like I've done a pretty decent job of making the Bills a relevant conversation all year long. And I hope that you come along for the ride. And I want to thank you. I don't take this opportunity lightly that I have to host this podcast and do all the things that I get to do covering the Buffalo Bills. It's the passion of my life, and I really, really love it. And I am honored that so many people allow me to be part of their Bills Mafia journey. You know, this is a really special fan base. This is a special team that means a lot to a lot of people. And I love that I have the opportunity, I hope, to add value to your fandom, to make it better to be a fan of the Bills, whether that's offering perspective that is helpful for you to process things, sharing ideas, you know, building community around the podcast with all the different things that we have going on. I'm just grateful for the opportunity and for anybody that takes me along for their Bills Mafia journey, right? This is my Bills Mafia journey and I get to share it with you, but it goes both ways. And I'm very thankful for everyone who listens, everyone who's part of the sub text or the sub stack or the Discord. I think that's what makes it really hard today is I've gotten to know so many people, and just knowing how much this team means to so many people, and for us to look back on this season and the resounding word is disappointed. Well, we're disappointed in the result of the football, but there's nothing disappointing about the relationships, the connection. None of that's disappointing. To be connected with people from all over the world, from all different backgrounds, and to be able to connect over the Bills. And because of that, we care about details in people's lives. It's incredible. So I hope that the disappointment of this season and this result doesn't take away from what is a very special thing that exists, that connects people. And I love things that unify people. Very divided world that we live in. And so I hope that we'll be able to keep the right perspective and enjoy how this team connects so many people. And so I hope that you'll come along for the ride this offseason. It'll be thorough. I promise you that. I promise you that. I've done this for a long time now. You know, we're going to assess this football team. We'll talk about the different ways that it can improve. I'll share all the ideas. We get to do some nostalgic stuff. I mean, I'm excited for the opportunity to have this offseason. Obviously, I wanted it to start in 2 weeks. I wasn't wanting it to start now. But I always enjoy this time of year because it really does challenge me to be creative and find ways to make this conversation interesting, fresh, and relevant to you all season long. And so please come along for the ride. In the immediate future, the All 22 review, herd mentality. We're certainly going to hear some comments from Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. Players as well. Big decisions to be made on a bunch of players. So we'll be breaking it all down for you here on this podcast. I certainly hope that you'll come back. I hope that you'll subscribe. I hope that you'll take a second to rate, review, and share. Have a great rest of your day, folks. I know this wasn't the result. And I'm sorry. And I feel gutted for everybody. But always and forever, go Bills. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.